right, let's have a listen. Pierre Poilievre.
When you talk about protecting the French language outside Quebec, you're talking about expanding access to immersion. What are you promising to a lot of students who have no room in those schools because there aren't enough Francophone schools being built outside Quebec? Are you pledging to support the construction of more schools? Thank you for that question. When I was a young person in Calgary, I was able to attend an immersion school where my father was also a teacher. So this is something that is very important to me, and I know there's a lot of demand. Obviously, management of schools is a provincial area of jurisdiction. They are the ones that control which schools are established in which communities, and I'm prepared to work in full cooperation with the provinces to ensure that that access can be expanded. Now, I made an announcement previously about an immersion program that would allow young people to go to Quebec, to the Saguenay and other places in Quebec where there's a large concentration of Francophones. Just speaking French and being in immersion for 5 weeks, I did that when I was about 20 years of age, and I think I announced that I would double the funding of that program so that we can have more Anglophones right across Canada to go to Quebec and get involved in immersion programs and begin to achieve the necessary proficiency. Now, with respect to Francophone immigration outside of Quebec, Mr. Carney announced a target of 12%. What target are you proposing? Well, I think that is a reasonable target, and I agree with him, and our party has already said that we are in favor of expanding the number of Francophone immigrants coming to Canada, including outside of Quebec, so that we can add greater demographic weight to the French language in Canada. So we will work in full cooperation with the communities to expand the number of Francophones who come to Canada and make Canada their home. Thank you.
Sheila Gunn-Reid for Rebel News.
Yes.
We've seen the NDP tonight refuse to take questions from independent journalists. The Liberals have gone one step further. The Carney campaign has called the police on independent journalists. Trudeau before that brought in C-18, C-11. The Liberals are promising a revamped version of the Online Harms Act. What would a Conservative government do to ensure the independence of the press and protect Canadians' right to have access to information and hold their politicians to account?
We are the only party that's willing to protect freedom of the press, of all the media, and we will also repeal C-11, the censorship law. We will remove the censorship of Canadian news on web platforms like Facebook and Instagram, and we will fight back against any kind of Orwellian online censorship law like the one that the previous Liberal government instituted. It was designed to create the possibility of preemptive arrests of people, where you could be arrested if you were suspected of sometime in the future planning to say something harmful online. You could be under a peace bond. I mean, it really is Orwellian. And I note that many people across the spectrum have spoken out against this censorship. Even someone like Margaret Atwood, not known to be a conservative, has said that this kind of censorship is not only bad for democracy, but inhibits artistic expression. So I stand for free speech, and we will respect the right of Canadians to have access to the media that they choose.
My follow-up, Canada's suffering the most violent anti-Semitic crime wave in history.
Yes.
There have been shootings, firebombings, even a riot right here in Montreal. But not all of this anti-Semitic hatred and incitement rises to the high level of a criminal code offense. Do you believe that foreign nationals, that is, people who are not Canadian citizens, should be deported for participating in these hate marches? or other pro-Hamas activities that don't rise to the level of a crime?
Well, what I have said is when there is a crime involved, including crimes of vandalism, that visitors to Canada should be deported. You simply can't come here and firebomb a Jewish bakery or someone's home or smash windows out of a political riot and expect to stay in this country if you are on a visitor visa. We will be bringing in tougher laws to penalize those who are permanent residents and citizens who break laws and harm our communities. But look, this is the disintegration we have witnessed after the lost Liberal decade. Everybody is divided. This group is divided against that group. There is crime and chaos in our streets. The Liberals have promoted this division by saying one thing to one group and then exactly the opposite to a different group. We had a tradition in this country before this government where you could come from places, the conflict-ridden places in the world, and you would leave the fight behind. You might have a debate about the politics of that place when you sat down in a coffee shop in Montreal or Toronto, but it never overflowed into street violence. We need to get back to that. We welcome people to this country. Sure, bring your culture, bring your traditions, bring your family, but do not bring foreign conflicts onto our streets. We're going to have peaceful streets again, and we're going to be united. All of us should consider ourselves Canadian first and put foreign divisions behind us.
Thank you for taking my question.
Thank you.
Please keep your questions and answers short. Thank you.
Christopher Curtis, The Rover. Monsieur Poilievre, plus tôt ce soir,
earlier this evening, Jagmeet Singh described what is happening in Gaza as a genocide. I imagine that's not your opinion, but since the Israeli government is talking about removing Palestinians from Gaza, is this more like ethnic cleansing? And do you think it's permissible to criticize Israel? Well, it's permissible to criticize anyone. However, Hamas attacked Israel with the mission of raping and killing as many citizens as possible. Israel had already ceded Gaza, and this was an unprovoked invasion. And unfortunately, there is a great deal of suffering among Palestinians, but the blame rests with Hamas. Hamas wants to maximize suffering among Palestinians in order to extend the conflict, to prolong the conflict. So I reject Mr. Singh's approach to this. We will remain true to those allies who are against terrorism. Yes, but bombs fell on many universities and other institutions in Gaza. People there are not getting the help they need. Can you afford to criticize Israel, or do you believe they've done everything they should have done thus far? In a situation where a terrorist group crosses the border to deliberately target children, women, and civilians, a country has no choice but to defend itself. Should that country make every effort to avoid tragedies affecting other civilians? Yes. Unfortunately, Hamas wants to position itself in order to maximize loss of life among Palestinians. Hamas started this war, and they are maximizing the suffering of the Palestinian people.
That was the last question.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so that was Conservative Leader Pierre Poilievre. Next up will be Yves-François Blanchet of the Bloc. But just watching it, having watched the debate, David, the debate was one type of conversation. This feels very different.
I think the debate commission is going to need to be accountable for what's kind of happening here. They moved the time of the debate the day before. They kicked the Greens out the morning of, and they've opened up the scrums and the press access to a bunch of groups who sometimes are registered charities or have been defined by their owner as not actually a journalistic organization, or have been ruled by the federal court to not be a journalistic organization. And in an election like this one, with very substantive debate on very substantive issues, moderated very well and executed very well by all the leaders, this is where this is going. So look, the debate commission was set up to make this stuff run in a professional, coherent way, shifting the time for a hockey game, kicking out the Greens about a problem that has been known about for a week, and now this. I think I would like an explanation as a journalist. I think a lot of people at home would like an explanation as to why it happens this way. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the English debate tomorrow? But we've seen this, that they're talking about. There was immigration questions in the debate, a consensus on living up to the Safe Third Country Agreement. Can you really do that with an administration like the Trump administration right now, where you send people back when the foundational principle of the Safe Third Country Agreement is people you deny access at your border are going to get due process and proper legal treatment in the country you're sending them back to, when people are just being snatched and sent to. They sent an American citizen to Central America, and they're refusing to bring back. So there are substantive follow-ups on these things for these leaders. They only get 10 minutes, and it's being monopolized by people who are asking on issues that are not central to the campaign, and certainly were not central to this debate.